hello again, KCIW listeners, and welcome to Café. I'm producer and volunteer Rick McNamer. Every Sunday from 3 to 4, your host, Ray Gary, puts together a panel of guests to discuss topics of interest in our community. Listeners can participate by texting questions or comments to 541-661-4098. Again, that text line is 541-661-4098. Now here's Ray to tell us about today's show.
And just like every week, we have scoured the community, looked in every corner, behind every door to find people who will be interesting to listen to. So I'm going to turn the mics over to them now. We can go around the table. They can introduce themselves.
Well, Ray, it's great to be on the show. I'm Sue Wright. I'm one of the founders of the Wild River Film Festival, along with Bev Jude, Mark Gautreaux, Judy May Lopez. They're not here today, but they were part of our founding board 3 years ago now.
Yep, 3 years. Time flew.
Yes.
And I'm Bev Jude. I am the current president of the Wild Rivers Film Foundation, and happy to be here with both of you gentlemen and excited to talk about us.
And we're excited too.
Yes. So whoever wants to start out, why don't you tell us what is the Wild Rivers Festival? How did it get started and whose idea was it?
Okay. We've decided that I'll take the lead here. So I'm generally a troublemaker, and it was largely my idea. But I have to say that there's a number of people in the Brookings community who had wanted a film festival for a long time, and there's another group that initiated one just prior to COVID, and then that sort of fell through during COVID. And we launched in 2023. So we actually created our nonprofit in late 22 and launched in 23. And we had, I think there's several things that have to come together: funding, skills, and passion. And our board had the passion, but we didn't have the skills. And so Dan Springen, who's the director of the Orlando Film Festival, came on as our executive director, and he has been reviewing films and curating the films for us, and then he comes during the film festival and hosts the film festival. So we've managed to raise the money, and we still have the passion for it, and we're going strong.
Absolutely. And it was interesting because it took off by itself. I remember we had attended a film festival in Orlando because locally in the community we made, I was part of the dance group, Wild Rivers Dance, and they made a film by accident, really. We had a director who was taking a class with our director, Sky, and she wrote a little screenplay, and it was COVID going on, and he said, "Hey, are you interested in making a little film?" And we all thought little film, kind of like a homemade film, with your, your little home camera. And they came out big time. They had all of the bells and whistles. They were serious. And when our film got made and we were invited to go view it, again, our expectations were low. We were expecting to see a home film, a home movie. And it just blew us away. It was amazing. It was fantastic.
And award-winning.
And it got 7 awards, like right out of the box.
My.
And so we were then invited to the film festival in Orlando, where we met Dan. And he approached Sue, and one thing led to another. And it's been the fastest pace since then. Michael likes to describe it as falling forward. And that's what we've done. It has just taken off so fast that we sometimes don't plan our next move. We just fall into it and we make it happen.
And that little film is a small town nutcracker, which we're hoping to bring back to the film festival this year.
Yes, and it's a fantastic little film. But since then, I think we really have learned a lot about film festivals and putting it together. And we started from ground zero. And we thought that we could watch someone like Dan put on a film festival and that we could do it. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Wow.
So it's kind of scary that we took that leap of faith and we had no books to tell us how to do it. We just did it.
Well, and it's been pretty good so far for the community, right?
It's been fantastic.
Now, and a pox on me because I haven't been to the film. I've been here 7 years. That I will be going this year. But and these films are all indie films, independent.
They're all independent
films.
films, yes.
And do you were saying you re-show some of them at times, or
We do sometimes. So to show them, they can't be in distribution. So they
Okay.
can't be streaming on a platform or, had a movie run. They're not in distribution. So what happens is the film gets made and then the filmmakers put it in the film festival circuit to get reviews and feedback and awards so they can get the attention of maybe a studio to get it into distribution. Just as a quick example, in 2023, we screened Abby's List, which was a documentary, if anybody out there remembers it.
let me get a documentary.
A documentary.
Oh, that goes
Mark
big
Sutherland
everywhere.
took his 13-year-old Whippet on a dog bucket list road trip across the country from the Pacific to the Atlantic, thinking that she had a few weeks to live. And in the process, because he got her off the couch and he got her engaged, the dog lived 3 more years.
Wow.
And so
That
he's
is
got this
great.
thousands of miles. And the first thing on the dog's bucket list was to pee on the largest tree in the continent. And so they went to the sequoias, and then the dog wouldn't go.
I think a lot of kids have that desire too.
Another one was to interview the world's most famous dog. And so they interviewed Bill Farmer, who is the voice of Goofy.
Oh,
So, and he actually came to the film festival. So we had the voice of Goofy at the film festival with Mark Sutherland when they screened Abby's List. To make a long story short, Abby's List has just gone now to a limited theatrical release across the country from New York to LA. It got held over a second week and then a third week. And it's going to be streaming on all the major streaming platforms beginning the 23rd of this month. So that's to give you kind of an example of this process. And we got to help them get there.
and it sounds like their creativity is just flowing all the time.
Yes.
With all the
Always.
different memes or whatever the word is. I want to remind everybody you can text in questions or comments, please, 541-661-4098. Now, and also what you were talking about, I mean, producers and directors and stage, I mean, there's got to be, well, I don't know anything about making a movie, but I know I enjoy
There's
them.
lots of roles, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't know how movies get made, and that's part of what we're doing is, especially youth education is a big part of our platform, our mission. And last year we launched our first film workshop, and Dan Springen came and directed that, and we had 20 kids that did 4 days of intensive education at the college. So everything from storytelling and script writing to production, the art department and scene setting, camera, lights, sound, editing. And after 4 days of intense instruction, we took them on location and they did a short documentary with the Tolowa Dani Nation on their traditional canoe building project. And so the kids were the crew. And by the second half of the second day, they were doing everything. So we had a director and a cinematographer, but the kids were doing everything else. And that little film is in revisions. It's in its third rough cut. And as soon as we have a final version that's approved by the Tolowa Tribal Council, we'll be showing that. So,
Yeah, and you guys, Wild Rivers is associated or with a lot of the local indigenous people
we
here.
are partnering.
And that's
yeah,
huge.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, too.
That's huge.
Where we started off kind of small, again, it just blossomed and it grew huge. What Sue was talking about at the school was absolutely amazing. At one point, the kids wrote a quick little screenplay of their own, and Dan Springen took them through reading And it was just a quick thing. It was little mice who were going to jump up on the refrigerator and eat the cheese. And he took them through to help them understand how many opportunities there were to work in the film industry, not just as a producer, not just as a director, but that he took them through the point of, okay, you've got your mice and you're now in the kitchen. Who built the kitchen? So you want to do construction.
Right.
Construction is available to you in this. And then the little mice jumped. Did they jump or did they use stunt mice? And so he took them through every single stage, all the way up to the top, where you would have hospitality. And are you using real fruit or are you using plastic fruit? And so it was very cool for the kids to understand there's 100 different jobs you could take, 100 different careers that pay well.
Wow.
That you could do in this industry by just putting your mind to it and working. And by day 5, when they took the equipment, they handled it like they were pros. They weren't sensitive with it and they didn't question, oh, am I holding it right? No, they acted like they knew this. They were pros.
The kid youth energy has got to be totally different and just wonderful watching all of that stuff.
It is.
That's cool.
Super exciting to
That's
watch
really
them.
Cool.
And they just went out there and they filmed. They held the gap, to get the sound right. They held lighting. I'm not sure what they're called, but the
lighting panels.
Yes, the big panels. They knew this equipment. They knew what they needed, and they just did it.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. So this is, I guess some of those might be hopeful. It might be hopeful that they're going to go on to a career in this someday.
I think so. But we have about 8 of last year's 20 students that have already indicated that they're coming back for this year's workshop. And so this year, they'll be the key grip. They'll be the keys. They'll be the leads. And then the new students will be under them. So they'll be like the best boy to the key grip. So
what I know about filmmaking is I used to go to L.A. a lot, and every now and then you'd come up on a place where they're filming. In fact, sometimes it's possible to get someplace without coming up on one of those. And it looks like there's a lot of jobs, and I suppose they're being paid for that is just standing around. A lot of standing around and not doing much of anything. That sounds like a job I should have had.
Well, we used to, in California, we used to accuse the Caltrans workers of doing that.
Oh, that's.
But I did it in my railroad career
I
too.
was a state worker, so some people will say, yeah, you spent a lot of time standing around. But anyway.
That might be true in larger productions, but when you've got a crew of 7 for a small indie,
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of different jobs usually, and they're not standing around.
I bet that's a lot different doing an independent. Like I'm an expert, but I'm guessing there. I'm guessing.
We sat on the St. Monica Pier, is that what it's called?
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, on the boardwalk there, and they were filming something down on the beach. We sat there and talking to another guy who was on the bench. It turns out he was a background artist. They're not extras anymore. He's a background artist. And probably an hour, and nothing at all seemed to happen. And then eventually they told us we had to leave because they were going to start doing something. But I could see where these movies take forever. And then we went to see the movie, obviously, and the part they were filming there was probably on the air for 3 minutes or something like that.
Well, and Sue, you were saying there's other obvious film festivals throughout the country.
Hundreds or thousands of film festivals. I can't even count the ones that are in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay. One of the music capitals of the nation.
Right.
I think our little area, I'm guessing, like I said, I've been here about 7 years, and it's a magical area to me. It's so beautiful. That's got to be a draw for a lot of people.
We are building a destination film festival. So this is not like one that might be on your circuit or the 6 or 8 that are in Austin, Texas. This is one where, and last year we had 3 dozen filmmakers and their guests here during the festival. So they're coming from Maine and Alaska and LA. They were coming from all over the country, Canada. And they spend a week here. And we get to show off the best of this community, from the beaches and the port to
The mountains,
Yes.
the redwoods.
And the idea, the redwoods, the idea is that it's particularly diverse in terms of locations here. You can film everything from mountain to seaside
yeah.
in a very tight area. So our intent is to draw these filmmakers back, or to at least get them to think about this as a potential location for a future project. Film economy it's really delightful in that it can bring in a lot of money and leave a very small footprint in the community, because a lot of times the production will come in and we don't even know they're here unless you happen upon them down at Secret Beach or wherever they happen to be filming that day.
Yeah.
Just to give an example, Adam Driver did a film in this area a couple of years ago, and they spent about $1.5 million in this county while they were filming, and most people didn't even know they were here.
But the community benefited from that.
Right.
Obviously.
So that
Maybe
was,
half committed.
lodging and food and
Right.
support. And if we can train up some of our youth to be, those what used to be called below the line jobs, so hair and makeup, lighting, sound, all those jobs, then they could get hired by a production. And Oregon actually has a program where they will provide a tax break up to 25% of the cost of the labor that they hire in Oregon when they do a production. So
A little more benefit there.
we're trying to
Yeah.
highlight all those draws for coming here.
Now, no, and again, you guys are independent films, but you were
Right.
talking about the people that come here that we're talking major films.
Right.
that-
This was a studio.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The best of both worlds.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I have to say that I went to, I don't know how many, 6 or 8 of the movies last year, and they were all fun. I enjoyed all of them except one that I didn't get, and maybe it's just because I'm not into that. It was these little plastic things chasing each other around, and I kept saying to the person I'm with, "Well, this will be something here in a minute, I think." But I never. I guess if you're into little plastic things, that was a great movie.
So some of the independents are experimental, and they're playing around with new ideas or new ways of filming something. It could have been, I don't know which one you're referring to. It might have been stop action.
It was a stop action thing,
Yeah.
yeah. But
And animated films come
right.
into play.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty quirky, weird, but hilarious, wonderful animated films in my life. I'm assuming you guys know of them too, because and for that to take place, like you said, stop action, that's a lot of hard work.
oh God, yeah.
God, I wish I could now remember some of them, but some of them were just, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, you probably remember claymation too, right?
Oh,
When-
that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff.
So some of these filmmakers we try to provide something for everyone. So there's the shorts that are experimental. We had a Badfish. We screened Badfish here last year. The Mermaid Horror Story at 10 o'clock at the Playhouse. And it was packed. And a lot of their crew was here. And
Yes.
they went out afterwards for an after party. And I think they had I didn't make it that late, but I think they had a really good time.
I think they did too. And they even have some locals in the film, and they're making Bad Fish 2. And again, they've got some of our
sequel.
locals in there. Yes,
sequel.
it was a great film. I mean,
And it's filmed right here in
That's just,
Yes.
Brookings.
that's awesome. Yeah.
there are films that are traditional in length, and there are films as short as 2 minutes, and that's a short. The shorts can go up to 30 minutes usually, but usually a lot less. And I asked, now that we've got 2 years under our belt, what does the community seem to like? Is there a particular genre that we lean toward? And they think that it could be horror films.
Oh, God.
We like a lot of horror films here.
That's where I planted myself in front of my black and white TV when I was a kid.
Yes.
I have
the
They were
films are just
campy and
everywhere,
that's funny. That's cool.
I have Frankenstein recorded on my recorder right now that I will watch for the 375th time as soon as I get some time.
Well, and both you and I.
I think one of the movies we saw last year was a horror film. It was these guys were hunting or something and went off. It was a horror film, yeah, and they went off to stay in a cabin.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So in the first 10 or 15 minutes of that thing,
Was Deer Camp? I think that's
might have been Deer Camp, yeah.
the title of that one.
They'd all met in a bar or something, and they were. I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but by the time they were done with the bar scene, I was saying, I don't like any of those guys. I hope they all get killed. It was a strange movie.
Yeah. Well, and both you and I, Ray and I, have talked about when, as a kid, maybe Ray was a little older than me, but watching the first movies I remember to inspire me as a movie, cinephile, is that what you call it? King Kong.
Yeah.
The original
yeah.
King Kong. And,
That's another
I
movie.
can still watch it, and yeah, maybe a little dated, but it excites me.
A little dated, well, but it's fun for the time. And
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they made newer versions of it, I don't think it was.
Oh,
quite as good.
no. Couldn't do it. Now, can an independent film be a full-length film,
A
too?
lot of them are
Wow.
documentaries and
Oh,
narrative.
documentary, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
In fact, one of the documentaries, I think it's Run, Raven, Run. Isn't that close to 2 hours?
Yes. So it was
Okay.
Yeah.
on gypsy raw music
Okay.
and the history of raw music. And this last, so it's not just a film festival. We're actually screening films every month of the year. We have an afternoon indie series on the first Saturday of every month at 2:00 at the library. That's free. And we screen a feature-length film, sometimes from the film festival, sometimes something else that's of interest to the community. So this month, the first Saturday in May, we screened Space, Hope, and Charity, which was about an Oregonian, a woman who lost her husband and child in a rogue wave accident up in Coos Bay.
Ugh.
And then it's about her grief and her recovery and staying in her program at the University of Oregon in physics. And now she's working with the Webb telescope. So it was so inspiring, and actually won the most inspirational film last year at the festival.
Sounds beautiful.
It was great.
Wow. I was going to say, well, you had talked about, so you do the full-length films. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Throughout the year, then, you guys do get films coming in all year long, independent films.
Mm-hmm. And so most of them we hold for the festival, but we're doing some teasers. The other thing that we do every month is Second Saturday Art Walk, and we screen a short in our office. And so this month we screened Siskiyou Mountain Club's new short documentary, Bolin, about the rebuilding of the Bolin fire lookout that was lost in the fire several years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so that one was very inspirational too.
I liked that one a lot.
A fire lookout lost in a fire somehow.
So
There should be a punchline or something.
Maybe there should be. Most of them have been decommissioned, and it was being used for Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
And so it wasn't a active lookout anymore.
With
but
the
it
drones,
was historical. It'd been built in 1925.
Right.
Oh.
With the drones, with the drone
Drones are
technology now, I don't think they need that. But the old lookouts, I know they rent those out to people that want to do real camping with nobody around.
Yep.
I like a little more glamping, I think, but that's okay.
Me too.
It's not okay. Yeah.
But it was inspirational.
It was.
And it was a beautiful film to watch. I can't remember the statistics exactly, but it was over 2,000 hours that volunteers dedicated to rebuilding that. They didn't get paid to do it.
And they carried 15,000 pounds of material up to the lookout point from the landing.
Because it was too steep to drive equipment.
Yeah, well, this is the Siskiyous
Yes,
area?
so this is down below Cave Junction.
Oh, okay.
Bolin Mountain.
Okay. That's some
I have to go look it up.
Well, I would too. But yeah, that's some pretty steep mountainous, beautiful territory.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot stuff there, Ray.
Out there. Hotbed of Bigfoot information, yes.
And some of the things that surprised me about the film festival were how kids not only learned in the school and just grew from it, but also how they viewed the films. I thought they might be bored, have low attention spans, but I remember one particular film, and I think it's less than 8 minutes, and it was called Bloody Handcuffs. It was quite the popular one for the kids.
Bloody handcuffs.
Bloody Handcuffs. So this criminal bursts into a restaurant where this young lady's waiting for her blind date, and she thinks she's being stood up, and in bursts this very handsome young man. And she's like, oh boy, maybe he's my blind date. And then he sits down with her, but he keeps looking at the door, and it's thundering and lightning, and the police are after him. They burst in. He stands up. You see the bloody handcuff. He's wearing a tuxedo, and the lights go out, and some gunshots go off. That's the film.
Wow.
It's over that quick.
Sounds like the ending of The Sopranos.
It was amazing. But what was more amazing was how these kids talked about it. Because they were in my car, I got to hear the whole thing. And they ranged in age from, at that time, 10 years old up to 12. And they were totally into that. They were picking it apart. And did you see this? And did you see that? And I think this. And they were really amazing.
I guess those young minds must have just been percolating.
They were. And they couldn't wait to talk to the director.
That is wonderful.
It was great.
Wow.
Super inspirational.
Wow.
For a young group that you don't realize that they're going to love it that much.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you guys have been surprised quite often at times, taken
Yes.
aback maybe and mostly overjoyed with what you see.
Yes, absolutely.
And the kids that we're talking about that you're going to educate, if I will,
For the film workshop. that's
Thank you, the
upcoming.
film
Yes.
workshop. They're all local.
They're local.
Yeah, and you, I think you also said that a lot of them are indigenous.
So about half of them would be, yes,
Okay.
indigenous. We're partnering with the Tolowa Dene Nation. They're bringing in a major part of the funding for this, and they'll register about half of the students through their system, and then we'll register about half through the community. This year, we're planning 30 spaces, so for 12 to 18-year-olds in the community for a 2-week workshop, so 10 days, Monday through Friday. It will take place mostly at the college again this year.
Okay. Now, the workshop is 2 weeks long?
It's 2 weeks long this year.
Oh, wow. I
So
thought
we'll
it was
have-
just a few days.
So we'll have 4 days again of intensive instruction, and then about 5 days of actual. So this year, the goal is to have the kids produce a pilot for a teen comedy news program. And so it'll be a lot of short skits. And so they will be trying out the role as acting and the role of writing and the role of production, all of the things that go into that, making these 2 or 3 minute segments and then editing them together in a way that's engaging.
This year, we wouldn't. That sounds like something that I would love to see because I'm a big old news.
Yes.
Making fun of the news. But those won't be available for us to watch this year.
Where if we were really lucky, they would be available by the film festival. We have a commitment to have it this year's project ready by September.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're hosting it earlier this year, so it's June 16 to 27. And that gives us the month of July to get it ready to go to the festival. So we've got our fingers crossed this year.
Okay, great.
And something else that we did last year was we had a number of those kids work at the festival. And we actually had 4 kids who came in here and learned how to do the sound studio. And in one day, they were left on their own. And we had actors coming in and directors coming in to be interviewed, and the kids ran the studio out here.
Pretty amazing.
It was. I
Pretty
was shocked.
inspirational. Wow.
They learned so fast, and they learn complex things easily. They know how to do it. They may not be able to walk you and I through it and name all the specific parts, but they know how to do every single step of it.
And the stuff that we're talking about, as an old guy, we're always kind of, oh, these kids looking in their phones and yada yada yada. This is hands-on stuff that
Yes.
doesn't really require any of that. I mean, it's kind of not old hat, but older technology, if you will, that they have to do, and they seem to be excited about that, something different.
But they also have their cell phones, and there's equipment that can turn your cell phone into a handheld movie camera, and for $200. And then they can, once they have some of these skills, they can go out and do a much better job of creating their own content for YouTube or creating, authentic stories from the community, projects for school. And we're hoping some of them actually go on to film school or, become part of a filmmaking crew.
There's often a lot of need for students or people who know how to do just that, who know how to use their cell phone and capture an activity that's going on. And again, we're hoping that the kids will be inspired to do that and bring some of this back. And in the future, when someone says, hey, I need a small crew right now or tomorrow, that we would have access to a group of kids that we could say, hey, you 5, are you available tomorrow afternoon to film down at the beach or at the port or up at Stout Grove?
Yeah.
And that they could do that.
Now, you've been doing this for 3 years on these, I don't know what to call it, educational.
So this is our
Film.
second year for the
Second, okay,
the
I'm just
workshop,
curious.
but the third year for the film seminars during the festival.
Okay. And it might be too new, but have you heard of anybody in the past, young people that have, I got this job here, or this, I was able to be part of this film. Again, it's brand new still.
Yes, in a way. Some of the kids, the older kids, they actually made films for the Tolowa. I'm thinking of Marcus.
So the Tolowa, the education center, is building a podcasting station and helping their kids do news segments already. They're really interested in that. So they're planning to continue with
Well, that's
this.
great. So their own little studio.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how does this all start with these kids? If the 4 or 5 of them decided we want to make a movie, and then what's their first step? They have to get a
camera.
movie, a plot, or you get the equipment, you get everything else first? Or?
You need very little equipment. It's pretty minimal. You need a good idea. You need to do some script writing. This is how Richard Linklater started out. He had a little camera, and he was basically filming himself doing all the action. And for anyone who doesn't know Linklater, he's Dazed and Confused director, Boyhood. He's actually a really big name in independent film.
Okay. Well, I know on my little tiny part, I get joys on Facebook. I'll go down to the beach and I'm trying to do my own little, hey, it's a beautiful day here at Chrissy Field, and I show the beach. And so I'm part of the film industry.
There you go.
That's right.
You put it up on YouTube.
No, I'm not that far yet.
When you put it up on YouTube, you are.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay.
It
So far,
takes-
it's just family and friends.
And it takes...
Oh, I got 5 likes.
I'm sorry. It takes very
No.
little to actually get there, to make a film.
Yeah.
And the encouragement that the directors give these young kids when the kids ask, how did you start? Some of them say, I started with a napkin. I wrote down an idea one night, and then the next day I kind of made it bigger. And then I talked about it with a friend, and I made it even bigger. And then all of a sudden we just got out our phones and started filming, and one thing to the next thing. And some of them have actually made films very quickly, not over a year, but less than 3 or 4 months. And then they kept at it. And that's the encouragement they give the kids. Keep at it no matter what. And eventually you'll be like me.
Yeah. Hey, we're over halfway through. I just want to remind everybody you listen to KCIW 100.7 FM, and you can text in at 541-661-4098. Questions or comments. We're having a good time here with the Wild Rivers Film Festival people. And real quick, back to it's easy for we old folks, and I'll go we old folks to complain about the cell phones and the kids. Well, without mine, I'd feel a little lost. And again, I do the same thing down at the beach. I'm making my own little movies. I go, well, we do have a text that I must read here. It says, are you possibly considering having an outdoor viewing location? Now, wait, I got to make sure I'm getting this whole text. Okay. Such as Azalea Park. When I first moved here in 2016, maybe 2017, I did go to a movie viewing in the park. I can no longer indulge myself in attending almost every movie shown at Redwood Theater as COVID has left me badly immunocompromised. There are others like me in our community, even more, that avoid indoor crowds out of caution or other health reasons. I love movies. I used to really love going to the movie theaters. It would make my summer if you could see fit to have an outdoor screening. So,
well, I'm
talked about
glad you
Thank you,
asked, because outdoor screenings are one of the things that we've been talking about for the last several years. It has some hurdles. The cost of projection equipment to do that kind of distance, that big a screen, if we were going to do it at Azalea Park in the band shell, is prohibitively expensive. So we could potentially have a campaign specifically for outdoor viewing projection equipment, and then we'd be really happy to do that. One of the reasons we wanted to do an outdoor screening, in addition to being able to accommodate people who didn't want to be indoors, is that we want to do free screenings for the community, for people who have large families or who can't afford it. And so last year we did manage to start that with the Friday 6 o'clock free screening, and that was Spirit of the Wind. So it was about dog sledding races in Alaska. Very family-friendly film.
George Atla, right?
Yes, exactly.
I happen to have met George Atla.
So that was a fabulous film.
Quite a hero among the indigenous people in Alaska.
And who was that again? I'm sorry.
He's a dog musher.
Okay.
And he won the
Iditarod type stuff?
No,
it was prior to Iditarod.
There was a race that I guess they still have in Anchorage now, where it's a short distance race. It's like 25 miles, and I think it's 3 days. And he was crippled from polio when he was a kid, and so he couldn't use one leg. But that didn't stop him from that, and he turned out to be I don't know how many years in a row he won it.
Okay,
several.
That's a great story.
And we were able to screen that for free to the community. So we want to do that again. Another accommodation piece is people who have hearing loss and can't hear the films. And so one of the things we would like to focus on in upcoming years is how to make adaptations for people with hearing loss. Because I have a friend who would love to go, loves movies and would love to go to the movies, but she can't hear them, so it's really frustrating.
Oh, man. Well, you mentioned expensive. Let's go there for a little bit. Money. There's got to be a lot of money to be doing all of this
free.
No.
Hosting this is not free.
How can people help out? Donations.
I want to start that conversation with a shout out to our partners who are helping fund us. And I'm going to start with the workshop because the workshop, the cost for the 2-week workshop is over $2,000 a student. And we have managed to raise $61,000 of the $67,000 that we need already this year. Shout out to the Tolowa Dene Nation. So they're providing about half of that funding.
Awesome.
We have a $10,000 grant through the Roundhouse Foundation out of Sisters. The Brookings Harbor Education Foundation is supporting us. Sutter Coast Hospital is supporting this as a wellness piece. And we have a local angel donor, Ion Trap, that has made a very significant contribution.
Wow.
So
how can all of us that don't have a significant contribution, how can we donate
any amount is appreciated.
You bet.
Our office is at 605 Chetco Avenue. You can stop by on second Saturday and drop a donation in the jar. We're at wildriversfilmfestival.com, and we have a donation button, so you can go there and hit the donate button and make it even easier. So,
Unfortunately, I actually have to give some money to you. You kind of made it sound like you just pushed the button.
oh well, you have to have a credit card or a PayPal. But yes,
Now that was, I'm sorry, Wild Rivers
filmfestival.com.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we probably ought to be a .org because we are a 501c3.
Okay.
So your donations are tax deductible.
Okay. Yeah. What a great cause.
So we're still raising money for the festival, and we do that primarily through sponsorships. So we have a variety of levels of sponsorships. Again, you can reach out to us through the website, or you can contact us at info@wildriversfilmfestival.com, and someone will get back to you about a sponsorship. So we start at $250,
Okay.
and that gets you your logo up on the big screen. So we before and after every film. So we're 4 days, 4 screens, usually about 4 dozen different films that we're playing in more than once. So as a sponsor, you get a lot of coverage up on the big screen.
Wow. All right.
And you can also buy tickets. That helps us raise
Yes.
funds.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say,
Absolutely.
yeah, to go see the films. There
Yes.
you go.
You can purchase a day ticket, a single use for 1 day, or you can purchase a VIP pass, and that gets you into everything that we're doing with the film directors and all of the people who are there, after parties, happy hours, and every single film that you can fit into 4 days.
Wow.
And we actually have some of the most reasonable festival passes going. So our VIP pass is only $150. So that gets you into just about everything for the 4 days. And until the end of May, we have a buy one, get one. So you can get any of the festival passes for half price.
Well, the special deals are there.
They are.
That's great. And again, these are shown at the Redwood
At
Theater.
the Redwood Theater, they have 2 screens.
Okay.
So for anybody who's not familiar with our Redwood Theater downtown, it's a historic theater
Okay.
built in 1909. It used to be the Pinecone Theater.
Okay.
Owner Scott Larson is very community oriented, and so he's another partner for us. So one of the screens, one of the theaters seats about 230 people, and the other one 34. So it's very much more intimate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have a partnership with the Playhouse, and they seat about 80. So we helped put new projection equipment and screen in the
And where is this? The
Chetco Pelican
Chetco-
Players
oh, okay,
Playhouse
up
on the north end
end
of town. Yes.
Okay.
And so we're screening usually our shorts there.
Okay.
And then we also, through a Roundhouse grant last year, helped equip the library's large community room, the Forest Room,
Yeah.
with new projection and screen. So we can seat about 80 there too, and we mostly screen our documentaries at the library.
Okay. Okay. And back to the people that come in to do the instruction for the kids, they come from all over the place. Is that right?
Oh, so our instructors, yes, Dan
Yeah.
Springen, who has about 8, has produced about 8 films, and has run the Orlando Film Festival for the last 15 years, will be directing again. The kids, he is so supportive of young filmmakers.
Boy, again,
Yes.
I might use these terms a lot, but that's inspiring.
Yes,
And
he's inspiring for them, and he helps them see how they can get their foot in the door. He's just really supportive, not just of the kids in the film workshop, but a lot of young filmmakers in the industry.
Yeah.
Really respect him.
and he's from Orlando?
He's from Florida.
Florida.
Yes,
Well,
yeah,
okay.
that area.
Well, that's about as far across country as you can get from here.
And because we want to do this comedy news program this year, he's recruited Robert Mann, who is a writer-director with a number of films to his credit, but mostly thrillers. Airbnb, which is about this bed and breakfast where they're spying on the couple, and it's kind of everybody's worst nightmare when you go to an Airbnb.
Okay.
So that won awards here 2 years ago. He's now teaching seminars at UNLV, and he has comedy background. So he's going to come help with this project this year.
Again, I know we were talking about that earlier. That's my big interest because I just loved it ever since I was a kid. And going back to the SNL days, and they've done parodies at 60 Minutes and all of that stuff. And yeah, but God, you guys cover the whole spectrum. You talked about a thriller, horror movies, comedies, documentaries,
and shorts. So we are a real film festival.
Yeah, you bet.
I know a lot of people in Brookings community don't really know what a film festival is, or they haven't been to one.
As I'm meekly raising my hand.
One of our new board members, she's a retired university professor, and she's world traveled. And some of you know who I'm talking about, Marilyn Hart. She's just fabulous, but she had never been to a film festival until last year. And she said, oh my goodness, this is so much fun. And so now she's joined our board. And Oz is here with us now. Oz has been doing our movie reviews. And
awesome.
He's got so why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Sue. Bev had to step out a little bit early. And so I'm filling in for Bev at the moment. I'm so glad to be here. My name's Oz. I live in this town. I don't know. I love that we're talking about the focus of the education for the kiddos. Because people seem to think that it's just a 4-day event. It's not. What we're trying to go for is not. It's a year-round thing. It's the big event is the 4-day event. Where we throw the party and we show the films, but we're actually trying to go for a youth outreach program to give kids some skills. Even if it's just entertaining them for a couple weeks in a row, it's doing something different than they have been doing. Or, new life skills.
You bet. Gets them to start branching out.
Stretching them in an area that they're already interested in.
And to piggyback on that a little bit, I hear that they also give out, it's like do you have almost a mini Oscar celebration?
Oh, we have yes, we do.
This best director, best I don't know.
We have an awards ceremony. So if you have a VIP pass, you're part of the awards ceremony. We're at the Elks Lodge last year.
Okay.
It was beautifully laid out. And then we had awards, Best Picture. Yes, right. Very Academy Award-like. But we have our own unique award. It's the Elmo Williams Award to the most promising young filmmaker. And so we have our own Palme d'Or. But it's an octopus on a beach rock.
Fits the area.
That Jasmine Blue has crafted for a local glassblower has crafted for us, and they're beautiful.
Wonderful.
So we just keep doing new things.
Yeah.
And speaking of new things, we're playing with this new idea.
We do have a new idea. We do have a new idea coming along soon.
Newsflash.
Thank you so much for bringing it up, because we are going to be starting a movie club where we're going to be showing a film once or twice a month. We're still in the works of how we're going to roll it out. And the idea is that we're going to show a film, and everyone's welcome. And then we watch the film together, and then hang out and chat about it for
Take it apart.
Yeah, hang out and chat about it for 10 or 30 minutes in a row.
And these movies are independent movies.
No, well, both. We're both. We're gonna be rolling out classics.
Oh,
we're gonna be rolling out classic films. We're also gonna be playing some independent films from the film festivals, and we are going to do a preview of upcoming
films
is that
for
okay?
for the festival.
Yeah, you do like the end of the thing. We'll do like a short bit on what would be an upcoming film for the next film festival.
So we're in partnership with the library,
Okay.
and for a fee, they have access to a catalog of a whole range of films, and so then we can get the rights to show. So this is how we showed 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh, right. And again, as a kid,
in April.
planted myself, I could watch that. I'll still watch it. Might be a little campy now, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah, so we're talking about films like Animal House, which is a classic, and and since I'm a duck,
Oh,
yes,
are you?
I've all of my
and that's
degrees
where
are
it was
from the
filmed?
University of Oregon. So
I'll
my
be
PA, my MA, and my PhD are
Wow.
all from Oregon.
Did you participate in crazy toga
I
parties when you
did
were?
not participate in a toga party, but I might if we did a film club
Oh,
and we
wow.
showed Animal House.
Another news flash. Stu Wright wearing the toga, doing the toga dance. Well, that's wonderful.
Just
That's really-
recorded Animal House last night. It was
Oh, well.
on Netflix or something.
Okay, there
Isn't
you go.
it such a classic?
It is a classic.
I would like to make an emphasis on Oregon films because there are hundreds of them, and I don't think we appreciate them enough. Everything from The Goonies, which I see as often as I can, that was
Okay.
filmed in Astoria,
Oh, didn't
right?
know.
To
Okay.
John Wayne's Rooster Cogburn, that was filmed on the Rogue,
And one of my all-time favorite musicals, Paint Your Wagon.
is an Oregon film.
Hello. That's really cool. Well, that's wonderful because I'm a huge old black and white classic movie fan myself from now I can't think Treasure of the Sierra Madre, for example, stuff like that. So you do interplay some of those along with
If we can,
If you-
if they're in this catalog that we have access to.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because there's a lot of, I guess,
Rights.
and stuff you had to
Yeah.
Yeah,
attorneys.
we
We're careful about that.
I'll interject. We partnered with the library, and we split the cost so that we could play the films from the catalog, and the library can also play the films from the catalog. So
Okay.
it's continuing the effort of community partnership and working together.
And so then we don't have to charge. We can screen them
Okay.
for free to
And
the
there
community.
again, there's another little aspect of filmmaking that you could, I'm sure you talk to the young kids about.
How did that work?
You got any
Why
law
did they do that?
Yeah, right. Anybody have a law background? I mean, you kind of need that kind of stuff. People to do all the background work.
Entertainment attorneys, I'm afraid they're necessary.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Boy, we're winding down here the last 5 or 6 minutes. Again, if you have a question or comment, 541-661.
Can I make a comment?
Oh, please.
So the upcoming film workshop, if you're interested in registering for that, the enrollment forms will be going up probably next week. But you can reach out to us at info@wildriversfilmfestival.com and let me know that you're interested in registering a kid, 12 to 18, and we will get back to you and make sure that you get the enrollment forms.
That's perfect. Now, do you have people already registered, ready to go?
We do have returning students, so between 8 and 10 students from last year that are coming back.
Okay.
So, and they will get priority.
Okay. And again, the age range, you said 12 to
12 to 18.
18. Okay. God, that's hard of me thinking about 12 years old trying to study stuff like that. But
And I think a lot of people may underappreciate what our middle schoolers can do.
Hey, did they even have cell phones back when you were 12, Rick?
No,
I don't believe we're talking black and white TV, man. And I hate that. Or you had to change the channel physically.
get up and change it. Yeah, change the. Yeah.
You and this.
Oh, but what about the days when you had to adjust the colors? That didn't last very long.
Oh no.
And you had to get rid of the static.
So Oz is trying to give us a little stab that, hey, you old guys, do you?
Well, not. I'm including myself in that.
Oh, please.
You guys kind of you started out the program a little bit, that making comments about being old dudes.
Oh, well.
But I think that it's great. Our children are actually very capable of using the technology. We gotta honor them for it.
I have to say how many times I reach out to my son or my grandson to tell me how to do something with
I
technology.
barely use my cell phone. I use like 3 things on my electronic device.
That's like
I'm including
isn't that a
myself.
sin?
Yeah, whatever. I don't like downloading apps.
Oh, well,
I don't.
So when I get a weekly report. I don't know where it comes from of
I
cell
get
phone
mine.
use,
Yeah,
and I'm shocked that it's like 3.5 hours a day. It seems like sometimes
I'm up to 8.
8.
So I'm like a teenager in that respect.
Yeah.
Well, all right. This has been fantastic, and
It's been fun.
it has been fun, and I'm looking forward to be a first timer on the attending the Wild Rivers Film Festival.
Let me remind our audience, our
Please.
festival passes are buy one, get one until the end of this month. So
Okay.
don't wait.
So if you buy a VIP pass, you get.
You'll get a VIP pass. Yes,
Oh wow, that's a good deal. That's
Yeah.
Yes, it is a good
$150.
deal.
Did you say?
that's right.
Okay.
So, and if you haven't checked, the festival passes over at the Ashland Independent Film Festival are quite a bit more expensive than ours.
Huh.
So,
Wow. Well, again, I have to reflect as we were talking about the making fun of the news. I just have a couple I had to mention that would stick in my mind. I can remember George Carlin doing the hippy dippy weatherman. I think it was might have been Johnny. I don't know, but that's the kind of stuff that just.
Yeah.
I think that most people enjoy that. Really.
I think it's going to be a really fun project, both
Sounds
for
like
the
a lot of fun.
participants and for the other kids that see it, and for us to find out what's resonating with our kids right now. What do they think's funny? I don't think I know.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't
What news
either.
do they pay
But we're gonna
attention
find-
to?
We're going to find
out. We're
And
going to
this-
find out.
This is the year to do it because it sounds like that's going to be a big focal point.
Yeah.
God, that's going to be exciting. Funny.
Come out and join us for an hour or two or a day.
It can be the old guy, the old curmudgeon sitting in the back.
There's going to be plenty of help if we need to find something on our cell phone and find out.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I would love to know how to forward a picture. Things like
Well,
I'm gonna make one last comment.
bet.
I love that the approach is we're trying to do something funny, comedy, lighthearted, keep it fun.
Yeah.
We can do something different next year, but this
you
year,
bet.
Last year we did a very serious documentary project, and
Right.
so this year we're going to do something different.
Wow. And boy, these times it's fun and lighthearted is going to be just what the doctor ordered, I think. This is wonderful. So, yeah, thank you both, and thank Bev. She had to leave early, but glad to keep up with what's happening with the Wild Rivers Film Festival.
it has been a good show. Yeah.
Yeah. A rare good show, huh, Ray?
Well, every now and then.
No, we
we do something.
yeah. All
thanks
all-
for the invite.
Oh, man, we're glad you guys
Thanks for being here.
showed
Yeah.
up, you bet. So, okay, well, for those of you out there, yeah, remember all the info about the Wild Rivers Film Festival, and I was going to go to the wildriversfilmfestival.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Donations,
Donate.
sponsorships,
Thank you.
tickets,
Right.
all there.
Okay.
And those VIP passes have a whole lot of perks that go along with
They
them.
do happy
Yeah.
And
hours.
if you can get one get two for the price of one. I'm going to be on the computer when I get home.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you all for listening to KCIW LP here in beautiful Brookings, 100.7 FM. And we'll be back next week for another show.